Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. In an extraordinary judgment by the High Court, a local council has been told that its democratic decision to hold prayers as a formal part of local council meetings is unlawful. The case was brought against Bideford Town Council by the National Secular Society and atheist former councillor Clive Bone. They claim that the prayers were discriminatory against atheist councillors, were a breach of human rights laws, and that the council had no lawful authority to hold prayers as part of its formal meetings. In giving his ruling, Mr Justice Ousley dismissed the first 2 points and said his judgment only affects the formal meetings of local government and does not stop councils from holding prayers outside of that setting if they wish to do so. Mike Judge of the Christian Institute gave this reaction to the ruling.
Well, this is an extraordinary ruling from the High Court. You know, when this case was actually brought to court, even the head of the Equality Commission said that this was nonsense on stilts. And it really is quite bizarre that the court has found that the saying of prayers is unlawful. Now, we do welcome the fact that the court did reject the idea that it was somehow discriminatory against atheists or a breach of human rights. That's good. But to say that there's no lawful authority for a council to say prayers as part of its official meetings, well, there's also no lawful authority for it to sing the national anthem at the start of its council meetings. I mean, is that going to be banned? Really, this is an extraordinary ruling and one that is very disappointing.
And Christian hotel owners Peter and Hazelmary Bull, who were successfully sued by a gay couple for restricting their double rooms to married couples, have lost their appeal. Last year, Mr and Mrs Bull were ordered to pay £3,600 in damages to Stephen Preddy and Martin Hall, a gay couple in a civil partnership. 3 Court of Appeal judges upheld the county court decision, which found the Bulls' room policy to be discriminatory on grounds of sexual orientation, despite it being applied to everyone equally. But the judges did caution that a new intolerance should not take root against Christians because of their beliefs about sexual ethics. The Bulls' appeal was funded by the Christian Institute, and spokesman Simon Calvert said, "Peter and Hazelmary have been penalised for their beliefs about marriage. A lot of people will think it is a shame that the law doesn't let them live and work according to their own values under their own roof. Something has gone badly wrong with our equality laws." The Archbishop of York, Dr. John Sentamu, has received racist and threatening messages after he voiced his support for traditional marriage last week. The Archbishop's office confirmed that North Yorkshire police have been called in and are investigating the messages as hate crimes. Dr. Sentamu has told the Daily Telegraph that marriage must remain between a man and a woman, but his comments provoked outrage amongst gay rights campaigners and also led to a protest at York Minster. It is the latest in a series of incidents where supporters of traditional marriage have been attacked for publicly declaring their views. A mother has described as morally wrong an NHS scheme in Hampshire which allowed her 13-year-old daughter to be given a contraception implant without her or her GP's knowledge. The mum told the Southern Daily Echo that parents are consulted about their children being given paracetamol, but to perform a minor surgical procedure on school grounds without parents knowing is morally wrong, and added that parents at the school were horrified to find out this was happening. Norman Wells from the Family Education Trust also criticised such schemes, warning that they treat parents, the law and basic moral principles with contempt. He continued that health authorities should be looking for ways of discouraging young people from engaging in sexual activity in the first place, and not fueling the flames of promiscuity. The Labour candidate for Mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, has said that former Prime Minister Tony Blair gave preferential treatment to homosexual MPs. Ken Livingstone commented in an interview with the New Statesman magazine that as soon as Blair got in, if you came out as lesbian or gay, you immediately got a job. It was wonderful. Mr Livingstone also said the Conservative Party was riddled with homosexuality at the time, and he claimed that Baroness Thatcher was clinically insane while Prime Minister. 2 Conservative MPs have written to Labour leader Ed Miliband asking for the remarks to be retracted. But a spokesman for Mr Livingstone said, "Ken is clearly saying the advance of lesbian and gay people into politics is unequivocally a good thing." Leader of the General Medical Council, Niall Dickson, has said that assisted suicide is illegal and doctors should have no part of it. The comments came as the GMC launched a consultation on its first ever guidance on assisted suicide. The draft guidelines say, where patients raise the issue of assisted suicide or ask for information that might encourage or assist them in ending their lives, doctors should explain that they cannot do so because providing this information would mean breaking the criminal law. And a doctor's fitness to practice could be called into question if they provide information or advice about methods of committing suicide, including practical assistance, for example by helping a person who wishes to commit suicide to travel to the place where they will be assisted to do so. Finally, there have been fresh calls for internet service providers to help protect children from viewing inappropriate material and implement an opt-in service for accessing online pornography. Premier Christian Media Trust and Safer Media want the government to change the law so that all internet service providers would be forced to introduce new safeguards, giving parents more control over what their children can access on the web. Peter KERRIDGE, Chief Executive of Premier Christian Media Trust, said, "We already recognise the need for measures to protect our children from sex and violence in films, video games and on TV. That same principle should be extended to the internet." Well, that's all for this week. For more information and regular updates on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.